Howdy beer brewers. Tonight I'm just doing a quick extract for it's going to be my version of an extract, Belgian Bruin. So I'm using a Cooper's Dark Ale, Bruin Enhancer 3, which is like half dry malt extract, and 300 grams of dextrose, 200 grams of maltodextrin, I think. Something like that, and an extra 500 grams of light dry malt. So that's all dissolved in there, and I've just rehydrated some Belgian Abbaye yeast, the Danstar version. So that's what I'm going to use there, and I'm going to age half of it in a 10-litre barrel. The reason why I'm using the Bruin Enhancer 3 instead of all light dry malt is because if you read Stan Hieronymus' book, How to Brew Like a Monk, a lot of the recipes for Belgian beers, they use dextrose. So I'm going to stick with the expert there and say it's okay. So looking at about probably a 6% alcohol beer, and that's sort of standard for Belgian Browns, Belgian Bruin. Anyway, this will be aged for a little while in the barrel, and then the other half I'll bottle condition. So I'll, you know how to mix ingredients into a pot with boiling water. I won't bore you to death with that. And you know how to add yeast to a fermenter. So I will, I won't bore you with that, but I am going to just, because I want the yeast to really shine in the beer, along with the dark malts in the Cooper's Dark Ale. I'm going to let it just ferment at room temperature where I live, which will, be around mid-20s. So I'll see you in a few weeks. We're going to do a batch prime with this Belgian brown ale. So that's, because it's only a half batch, it's 55 grams of dextrose and just enough water to dissolve it, boiling water. Dissolved. I put it in first, so that way you're guaranteed a better mix. Now because this beer's been in the barrel for some time, I doubt there'll be any yeast left in it. It should have all settled out. So I'm just going to I'm going to add some SO4. So I think 1 tablespoon should be enough of this sort of reharvested SO4 yeast. I think that'll be enough for the batch. Okay, I've got half of that Belgian Bruin beer sitting in this barrel. It's been aging for some time, so I've got going to drain that into a bottling bucket and do some bottling. I'm not going to put the yeast in straight away because you put the I put the boiling the boiling water in with the dextrose, so I don't want to kill the yeast. As you can see, it's slowly starting to trickle. There's just going to have to let a little bit of air in there. There we go. Okay. So with a sanitized tablespoon, this is literally all you do. Tablespoon. Don't worry about the splashes.
and I'll put this yeast back in the fridge for some sort of beer that I want this yeast for. The reason why I went with SO4 is because it gives a nice sort of fruity flavours, and that's essentially what I'm going for with this beer as well, with the Belgian Abbaye yeast. So once this is full, or this is empty, the barrel's empty, I'll bottle, and next time you see me I'll be doing a side by side with the bottle conditioned and the barrel conditioned beers. See you soon.
Hello brewers. Today we're going to do a side by side of my Belgian Bruin. So it's just an extract kit, but using the Danstar the Abbaye style yeast. So on my right here I have, so your left, I have my just bottle conditioned, so that one was in the fermenter for a couple of weeks, and then bottle conditioned. Good fizz. So traditional Belgian is frothy. Don't know about this frothy. Anyway. Now I don't like these bottles because I find these seals are hit and miss. But this is so I aged this one in a barrel for oh geez, a couple of months. It's not very fizzy at all. So I'm going to put it down to the crown seal for the bottle conditioned one, is why it's not flat, whereas this one, so I had to, because it was in the barrel for so long, I was worried that there was no yeast left in solution, so I just mixed up, as you saw, a tablespoon of SO4 yeast, because the esters in that are fruity, similar to those of a similar. They're fruitier than an American ale yeast, but I didn't have any more of the Abbaye yeast, otherwise I would have used that. So let's have a look. The wood barrel aged one is slightly darker, only slightly, but I guess you'd expect that given the wood's been charred and whatnot. So I sanitized it just with Star San in the barrel. I didn't want any alcohol to, I could have used bourbon or vodka and soak that into the timber, but I didn't want to kill off anything. I just wanted to use Star San, not impart any other flavour than the timber. So let's have a smell. It's real earthy, woody, and very much like a Glenmorangie or a Lagavulin type Scotch whiskey, so very peaty almost. I think that one will be nice. And the bottle aged one, the fruit notes from the yeast, they hit you straight away. So it's a lot of fruit cake in that. Yeah, just, and a tiny bit of cherry, which I suppose is in a lot of fruit cakes. But there's that sort of dark, like sun-dried grape, raisin, sultana flavour, aroma, and some dark cherries. It's a little cold, but the wood flavour actually is not. It goes pretty well with the sort of flatter beer. There's a little bit of carbonation in it, but it lends itself well. So it does sort of sip like a cold Scotch, yeah, it has those peaty, earthy flavours that you get in those two scotches I mentioned. This is way better than I thought it was going to be. Yeah, I was worried because the last time I used wood chips, and I only let it sit in the beer for a week, and honestly, the thing tasted like I was chewing on bourbon soaked wood. that's how strong it was. It was flavoured. This sat in the barrel for a couple of months. I forgot all about it for a while. It wasn't until I tried to pick it up that I remembered that the beer was in it. Wow. I'm going to enjoy that. Let's have a taste of this one. Still has those fruitcake aromas. I'm waiting to see, because I just used the Cooper's Dark Ale extract can, whether you get any of those chocolate notes. There is too much carbonation to get a decent flavour, so I'm trying to swirl it out or splash it out. The main point I'm trying to make with this beer is that even with extract, the key is so this is just a normal extract kit that you use to make the Cooper's Dark Ale, which is pretty much like drinking milk chocolate, fizzy milk chocolate with a bit of a beer flavour from the Pride of Ringwood hops. But it's so I just use Cooper's Dark Ale and a box of Brew Enhancer 3, and I think I used another box of dry malt as well. The reason why I didn't just use all malt is because the book How to Brew Like a Monk by Stan Hieronymus tells us that the Belgians use dextrose in their beers and simple sugars like that. So I was not afraid to use it, and I just wanted to also see how well the Abbaye yeast flavoured the beer, and it tastes nothing like a normal Cooper's Dark Ale extract or out of the bottle with the yeasts, and certainly not with the wooden barrel for a couple of months. I can't remember where I bought the wooden barrel from, just an Australian brewing shop, and it was 10 litres. I think it was $150, but I'll definitely be using it again to age some more, probably dark beers, because it worked a treat. Cleaning it up was a bit of a bugger, but anyway, you deal with those problems. Oh yeah, that's good now that most of the carbonation's out. It's really dark fruits. Yeah, it's a lot of dark cherry and prune, some prune flavour as well, and there's also a bit of tartness. Yeah, like almost like a bit of lactic acid. I'm not sure if that's an infection or whether it's part of the yeast profile. Yeah, it's just there's none of that flavour in this one, and that was like the barrel is like all barrels. They're a bit porous, so little bugs I'm sure got into it. I would have thought that if this was going to have any off, if this batch was going to have any off flavours, it would have been in the one that was in the barrel, rather than a clean bottle and sanitised bottle. But anyway, this was a really valuable little experiment for me. I love the wood age in this particular beer. Okay, that's enough of me rabbiting on. Happy brewing.